As skippers, many of us have had this same feeling. No, not that feeling of being in a ditch, but that feeling of being like, man, I should have just stayed home today. Welcome back, guys, to this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. Our first incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us down to Australia, where several residents down there have been experiencing flooding this week, and a skipper had to jump into quick action to make a quick save. These images here are of the Hawkesbury River near Wiseman, Australia, and here we're going to see a member of the Hawkesbury houseboats come out to try and save his fleet of luxury vessels. This staff member received phone calls from many residents in Wiseman Ferry alerting him to this container coming down the river. He quickly jumped into a small vessel and decided he was going to go out and do anything he could to make this container divert and hopefully miss his fleet. Due to his quick actions, he was able to quickly get out there in his boat and go ahead and bump the container, diverting it away from the houseboats and pushing the container downstream. The quick actions of this employee likely saved this entire fleet of luxury houseboats we see behind him from the massive damage this container could have caused. This container had been going down the river wreaking havoc up until this point, but it looks like they finally were able to get it under control. Parts of Australia are still experiencing flooding due to heavy rains and a dam that was breached this past week, so this may not be the last incident we see similar to this in the news in the coming weeks. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to stay in Australia and take us over to Ocean Grove in Victoria, where Adam Stan Photography just happened to be out documenting Ed's from Breathe the Blue Ocean's artwork on the spit at Ocean Grove when he noticed this vessel coming out. Noticing that conditions were exceptionally rough, I bet this boating group is glad they did, because these guys witnessed this happen, were able to call emergency services within seconds of the vessel overturning, and in less than 20 minutes, emergency services and help had arrived. One member of this crew does wind up suffering some injuries and winds up having to go to the hospital, but overall this is a very lucky crew. Adam Stan Photography does have a much longer video documenting this whole incident over on his Facebook page. You should go over there and check it out. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Gig Harbor, Washington, where several residents got a rude wake-up call. These were the sounds that Linda Richardson awoke to around 7:30 a.m. this past week, when the master of a tug vessel fell asleep behind the helm and wound up crashing this massive barge into 3 waterfront homes in Washington's Gig Harbor. The tug vessel, the Island Chief, had been towing an unmanned gravel barge south toward Tacoma, when instead it accidentally veered and hit the docks and the decks of the 3 waterfront homes. Fortunately, nobody was injured in the crash other than the homes. Coast Guard officials actually estimate the damage to the homes to be over $250,000 and have classified this as a serious marine incident. Neither the tug nor the barge appeared to sustain any serious damage, and they were able to continue on up to Seattle to await further inspection. Our next incident to make the boating news this week is going to take us back to Australia, where Australian authorities successfully completed a marine narcotics sting. Police watched and waited as a small boat left Botany Bay, heading to rendezvous with a larger container ship bound from Belgium to allegedly collect over 200 kilograms of illegal narcotics bound for the Australian shores. Police intercepted this vessel as it returned from the larger container ship back into the bay. As police searched the vessels, they searched the containers and wound up finding the narcotics. They also wound up recovering over $500,000 in cash from a storage unit also owned by this boat owner. The larger mother vessel, the 330-meter long ship, is currently docked at Port Botany and is actually being raided by the police as well. They are currently scouring the 1,500 containers on board containing refrigerated goods, while the crew members are also being interviewed. This type of transfer at sea is a well-known method used by lots of organized crime groups to try and get narcotics to different shores. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like Picasso West, Adam Stan Photography, Linda Richardson, Cindy Dagger, and John Clark did this week. And if you haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.